So today we are going to discuss about the ethnographic account of the Nuers with reference to the political organization.
Why? Sa du diwan. Sembile tanyang e yom doria. Dolar ba mer kola nyara ye kam du me loy lwang. Dolar mer jo kola nyara ye kam du me loy lwang. Dolar mer kola nyara ye kam du me loy lwang. Dor nyang e katela ba jo wi twa. He do lu nyan. Ne do lu nyan. En go ker bang go kana jumbore kon jaga duar.
Let us first try to understand the meaning of political organization. So, what do we understand by the political organization? Political organization is the means through which a society maintains an orderly system of social relations and manages its affairs with other societies externally. Such organization pertaining to different territorial groups may be relatively informal as in bands and tribes or formal as in chiefdoms and states. In the present topic, we will discuss how the Nuers organize their political life. Before discussing their political organization, let us see who are the Nuers. The Nuers are nomadic people of Africa who address themselves as Nath, meaning human beings live mostly in southern Sudan in the east of Upper Nile province around the junction of the Nile River with the Bahr el Ghazal and Sobat rivers and extending up to Sobat across the Ethiopian border. They have a population of approximately 2 lakh souls. They speak a Nilotic language and linguistically they have a close affinity with Dinka and Atuot. The language is uniform with no definable dialects. The cultural position of these people in East Africa can well be interpreted by the following diagram that shows close relationship with the Dinkas. East Africa's cultural types. Other culture: Nilo-Hamites, Nilotes, Shilluk, Nuer Dinka group, Shilluk, Shilluk-speaking people, Nuer Dinka. A second Nilotic division comprises of the Shilluk and various peoples such as the Luo, Anauk, Lango, etc., who speak languages of the Shilluk. As a biological ethnic group, they belong to Nilotic Negroes, having the physical characters of tall stature, slim figure, very dark skin color, long-legged, etc. Like many of his pastoral neighbors, a Nuer man's dearest passion is his cattle. Even the researchers indicate the introduction of cattle to be related to the development of these people. Life depends on cattle, and a Nuer will risk his life to defend them or to raid his neighbor's cattle. The Nuer worldview is built around the herds. The Nuer, Dinka and Atuot are sometimes considered as an ethnic group, and their oral tradition highlighted the separation of these peoples due to the conflicts related to cattle. There are more than 400 words used to describe cattle, and the Nuer people take the names of their favorite oxen or cow as well as refer the fellow members by their cattle names. Even though a Nuer boy has one name used by his paternal relatives and another name used by his mother's family. He is given an ox name, that is the name of the ox, at his initiation rite. The members of his peer group may use his ox name instead of his personal name. A girl may also choose an ox name from the bull calf of a cow she milks, and this name is used by her age group fellows. Cattle also take important role in their economy. While they do engage in agricultural pursuits, the care of cattle is the only labor they enjoy. It is said that conversation virtually on any subject will inevitably involve a discussion of cattle. Thus, in the Nuer society, attitudes toward cattle are regarded important. After describing a brief description of the Nuer, let us turn our analysis on the political organization of the Nuer tribe. As described by Evans Pritchard, the largest political segment of the Nuer is the tribe, which is divided into a number of territorial groups starting from homesteads, hamlets, village, primary section, secondary section, tertiary section, tribal confederacy section, eastern and western Nuer lands, and finally the horizon occupied by the Dinka group of tribals. The political organization of the Nuer, which may generate formidable military advantage, is based on the temporary combination of manpower, thereby forming and dissolving inter-segmentary groups as the conflict situation demands. In this system, the larger group is broken up into clans, which are segmented into lineages and further into different orders of lineage. There are intersegmental oppositions among the segments of a larger segment. The members of any segment unite to declare war against the members of other adjacent segments. The intra-political relationship can be interpreted clearly by the following diagram. When Z1 fights Z2, no other section is involved. When Z1 fights Y1, Z2 unites Z1 as Y2. Again, when Y1 fights with X1, then Y1 and Y2 unite, and so do X1 and X2. When X1 fights A, that is X1, X2, and Y1 and Y2 all unite as B. When A raids the neighboring tribe Dinka, A and B may unite. Thus, the system of fusion and fission of the Nuer political groups exist in terms of values by the relation between their segments and their interrelations as segments of a larger system in an organization of society in certain social situation, and not as parts of a kind of fixed framework within the people. The superstructure of polity is nothing more than an alliance which is active only during conflicts between any of the segments. So, their political organization is known as complementary or balanced opposition. Every society has got conflicts and disputes. Let us now discuss the causes of disputes among the Nuers. The main causes of disputes among the Nuer are as follows. Firstly, a dispute about a cow. Secondly, If a man strikes another man's cow or goat, who eats up the former's millets? Thirdly, a man strikes another's little son. Fourthly, a man takes away an object without the permission of the possessor. The last and the fifth, a dance ornament is taken away without the owner's permission. Now we will discuss in brief about the feuds and other disputes. Among the Nuers, there is no real political leader, but disputes are settled by the use of an informal educator known as the leopard skin chief. This person is not a political chief but a mediator. Rather, he is one of those specialists who are concerned in a ritual capacity with various departments of Nuer social life and of nature. His position is hereditary and he is the one who has religious overtones for the social well-being. When a man has killed another, he must at once go to the house of the leopard skin chief who cuts the culprit's arm so that the blood may flow. Until this mark of Cain has been made, the slayer may neither eat nor drink. Normally, blood feud follows the principle of lex talionis, that is, law of like for like. If he fears vengeance, then he remains as the chief's home for its sanctuary. Within the next few months, the chief attempts to mediate between the two parties. On one hand, he elicits from the slayer's kin that they are prepared to pay compensation to avoid a feud, and on the other hand, he persuades the victim's kin that they ought to accept compensation. During this period, neither party may eat nor drink from the same vessels. They may not, therefore, eat in the home of the same third person. The chief then collects the cattle, some 40 to 50 beasts, and takes them to the dead man's home, where he performs various sacrifices of cleansing and atonement. In this way, a leopard skin chief acts as a go-between and settles feud. A feud directly affects agnatic kinsmen of both sides. The feud had a wider social connotation, and that therein lies its political significance. Feuds are more easily settled within the smaller group. When a man kills a near kinsman or a close neighbor, the matter is quickly closed by paying compensation, often on a reduced scale. At the other end of the scale, when a homicide occurs between primary or secondary sections of a tribe, there is a little chance of an early settlement, and owing to distance, vengeance is not easily achieved, so that unsettled feuds accumulate. The kinsmen of the dead man are near enough to strike at the kinsmen of the slayer, as the near kins have equal values and share responsibility. Their members are closely related as cognates in such a manner to assist them if there is an open fight. The feud thus takes on a political complexion and expresses the hostility between political segments. Like every society, the Nuers also have their social organizations, that is the government and the law. The Nuers have no enacted law and no political power with legislative or judicial functions. There are conventional imposition of fines for the guiltiness of adultery with one's wife, fornication with one's daughter, theft, broken limbs, etc. But this do not make a legal system, for there is no constituted and impartial authority who decides on the rights and wrongs of a dispute, and there is no external power to enforce a decision. If a man has right on his side and gets the support of his kinsmen, they use force to obtain his due by taking cattle from the debtor's kraal. To resist is to run the risk of homicide and feud. It seems that the mode of settling a dispute depends very largely on the relative positions of the persons concerned in the kinship and age-set systems and the distance between their communities in tribal structure. In theory, one can obtain redress from any member of one's tribe, but in fact, there is little chance of doing so unless he is a member of one's local community and a kinsman. According to the Nuer tradition, there is no individual legal authority or a council of elders to hold court which can be compared with those familiar in Western countries. And if the Nuer has no law, likewise he lacks government. The leopard skin chief is not a political authority, and the man of the cattle and other ritual agents have no political status or functions, though they may become prominent and feared in their locality. The most influential men in a village are generally the heads of joint families who rear cattle, are of strong character, and belong to members of the aristocratic clan. But they have no clearly defined status or function. Let us now discuss the Nuer prophets in political organization. The Nuer prophets arose about the time of Arab intrusion into Nuer land. At the time of British conquest, they gained more respect and had widened influence than any other persons. No extensive raids were undertaken without their sanction, and often they let them receive part of the spoil and to some extent supervised the division of the rest of it. Though there were good evidence that the earlier prophets were no more than ritual agents, some of the latter ones appear to have begun to settle disputes at any rate in their own districts. However, their chief political importance rather lay elsewhere. For the first time, a single person symbolized, even if in a mainly spiritual form, the unity of a tribe, for the prophets were essentially tribal figures. Though, and this fact is also of great political significance, their influences become often extended over tribal boundaries and brought about a larger degree of unity among adjacent tribes. Finally, let us draw the conclusion. We have briefly discussed the Nuer political structure. Within their entire social structure, there is the importance of the relations between territorial segments within the territorial system and the relations between that and other social systems. Their political system lacks formal authorities to compel and bring social order. However, there is complementary or balanced opposition in bringing the social cohesive between any social segments. Besides, in the Nuer social life, the political system is combined with other systems. particularly the clan system and the age set system. In addition, their religion and political aspect prevail intermingling as the ritual specialists are respected and requested to educate political conflicts. The political system is also related to environmental conditions and modes of livelihood. The newer constitution is highly individualistic and libertarian. It is an as-palace society lacking legislative, judicial, and executive organs. Nevertheless, it is far from chaotic. In the absence of centralized government and of bureaucracy in the tribe, the newer society has a persistent and coherent form of political life which is described as ordered anarchy.